Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of If You Ain't Laughing, You Ain't Living. I am your host, your boy, comedian Doc, and I am excited once again for us to journey down a topic, a discussion that I think many people should listen to and maybe make some adjustments. We're going to talk about guns in the church today. We're going to talk about carrying concealed weapons inside the sanctuary. So I have a guest here, a good friend of mine. Man, this guy loves guns, but he also loves teaching people the right way and the responsibilities of carrying a concealed weapon. Not to mention, he's also a man of God. He also is one who not only serves people, but he serves the Lord. I'm not going to spend all the time trying to explain who he is. I'm going to let him do it. I call him Doc Holliday. Everybody that knows him, typically, we call him Doc Holliday. But I'll let him introduce himself formally how he likes to. Doc Holliday, welcome to my show, to my podcast, man. Thank you so much for coming and sharing what you're going to share with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Um, just sitting here, I was glad that you had called me and said, "Hey, I'd like for you to be on the podcast today." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, I didn't even know you was doing a podcast."
Yes,
Because
sir.
I know you from when I first met you up here doing comedy.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
doing comedy, though.
Oh, you still doing comedy?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
for sure. For
Okay,
sure.
great. So, and yeah, so doing that is basically, coming up here. We moved up here in 2021. And so I started doing firearms, back in the day. I gave you the rundown of me working with Department of Children and Families, how I was in law enforcement, with Metro-Dade County Corrections, um, and just helping people. Now I'm currently with ChildNet. So my wife and I, we did do the church.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
pastored for about 6 years,
Okay.
and so we let it go. And now I'm just came it on. So my name is Darryl Holiday, Darryl J. Holiday, matter of fact.
Right.
And so what I did when I started doing the firearm business, my brother and I started, he started a business called Toy and Loaded. So with that, we had split up. When our own ventures, he took the south part of Florida, I took the the central Florida, and I said, I got to come up with a name. And I said, well, I got the most famous name out there. And everybody said, what is it? I say, Holiday. So, and I said, I'm going to be the famous gunslinger, Doc Holliday. And they were like,
Mm.
who is that? I say, well, it was a real life person out of Savannah, Georgia, and he
Yep.
was a dentist, and he contracted tuberculosis. So when he contracted tuberculosis, he just started going around, and everybody just called him Doc Holliday. And he was actually the fastest gun in the West. Ringo Starr was the fastest at that time until he ran
Hmm.
against Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
So with me being a preacher, everybody started dubbing me because it says it's better for people to call you than you call yourself. Everybody started calling you the preacher, pick, picking pastor preacher, pistol packing preacher. I'm getting
Right.
tongue tied myself.
Yeah. All those P's to do that. That's a lot. Peter Piper picked the pepper. We still can't say that. So pistol packing preacher, I can see the tongue and tie. And I'm
Yeah,
glad you said that because I was about to. I didn't want to spill the beans to the audience, but I want you to tell them what they really call you. Once again, they call you to say them P's right. Say them slow.
pistol packing preacher.
That's a lot, sir. That's a lot. You packing. You a pistol packing preacher. You are.
Always packing somewhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me ask you this, Doc. How and what made you incorporate that into a love for helping people learn about carrying a concealed weapon? And we're going to talk about that in the church in a minute.
Okay.
But I just kind of want to bring the audience up to speed uh, and helping them understand the importance of properly uh, getting the classes and getting educated on how to carry a weapon. First of all, that's the most important thing for you
Right.
listeners is to legally get yourselves some education from an instructor, someone who has been trained and has the proper licenses, not the internet licenses, not the license you can buy down in the bottom of Miami behind the gas station, not the license that you can order off the black market. I'm talking about some legit, real licenses from a person who put the work in and knows the importance of training others so we can all live and be responsible
Yes.
while carrying. So I want to say you thank you for that first of all, and just tell them how you were able to start incorporating and helping people get that under their belt, learning how to carry a concealed weapon, learning the importance of it, and why it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I started out with, like I said, with the Department of Children and Families back in 1993. And up to 1993, 94, I worked with foster care and protective services. I seen a lot of kids come in with gun charges, and I'm on the foster care side of it, not the juvenile justice side, not the legal, because
Okay.
I did work juvenile justice, and always
Okay.
saw that kind of stuff coming in. And then there was a lot of kids getting shot with their parents' firearms or somebody in
Mm.
their house or somebody that they know.
Mhm.
Even though parents might not have a firearm in the house. So the kids were somehow winding up with these guns. I remember back in 2019, before the pandemic, there was 3 kids down in Homestead. That was playing. One kid was playing with his father's gun inside of the house, and no, he shouldn't see it. So what he did, and I got a fake gun here. It's a circle.
Okay.
It's just a little pistol. What he did, he took the magazine out the firearm. This is called a magazine. A lot of people call it a clip,
Okay.
but it's actually nomenclature. You call a thing actually what it is. And he took the magazine out, but he forgot to check the round to see if there was a round still inside the bullet. And
Mhm.
what he did, he pointed it at one kid playing around jokingly, and the kid told him stop doing that, and he pulled the trigger, and it went off.
Mm.
One bullet hit that one kid, went through his chest, and hit the kid behind him. And however, sadly, both kids died, but they
Ugh.
didn't necessarily die from the gunshot wound. A lot of
Okay.
people said they died because he was shot. No, they died because both bled out.
Mm.
So I encourage people, take CPR, take first responders class, take the stop the bleed class. What
Yes.
happened? The kid got so afraid, the one that did the shooting dropped the firearm and just ran to the house, which was
Mhm.
about a block away.
Okay.
And nobody knew what happened because nobody was home. And when the parents came home and saw 2 boys in the room laying there, when somebody could have responded,
Right.
well, I took it upon myself, even with the children that I work with. I have 3 kids, and I taught all of them firearm safety and everything. And so in 2016, like I said earlier, I started the business, doing firearm safety, helping out families, children. I even contracted with my agent, ChildNet, to do gun safety training for the children and mothers and fathers, because, a lot of domestic violence come through firearms.
Yep.
So
Right.
they contracted me to do pretty much their safety training as well. So that's how I
Gotcha.
pretty much got it started. And then
Okay.
I was a preacher, and in law enforcement, I always been not attracted to firearms, but always had a knowledge of firearms.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Well, I appreciate that, man. So I'm sitting here thinking while you're talking about, you know, packing uh guns and safety and concealed weapons, we'll say. I use the term concealed weapons because most people can understand that.
Right,
Packing is a more of a street term, if you will, or law enforcement term.
right,
So, me thinking about the old days, or the days of old, and as it relates to church and people carrying the weapons in church, that was something that you just never heard of, right? When I say never heard of, I've been in and out of church most of my entire life, and that was nothing that I was talked about. Even though I'm sure there was a couple of OGs, a couple of
right.
pimps decided to come to church on Easter with a suit. I'm sure they had some on. With the colorful suit, you got to wear a gun because the joke's gonna come, right? But I'm
Exactly.
sure there were people that carrying guns to church, but that was something that was never discussed. And quite frankly, there weren't any issues like that in the church that were known like they are now back in the day.
Right.
Now things are happening everywhere.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
we are in a time that's so unpredictable and so careless. There's not a lot of love displayed to each other like it should be. So people are just doing how and what they feel like doing uh, with these guns, and it's so easy to get a gun now. That makes it even more scarier for
Yes.
people that are in and out of church. So as far as the church is concerned, what are your thoughts, man, about carrying a gun to church? What you think about it?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do believe and advocate for
Okay.
carrying guns in church. You remember a couple of years ago out in Texas where the guy came in and
Yes,
saw.
sir.
Matter of fact, TD Jakes back in the early '80s, '90s talked about when he was in Virginia, his hometown. He was actually preaching and he counseled his husband and wife. And somehow the wife decided she wanted to get divorced and everything. The husband came in and actually walked in the church, walked past the deacons and the security as he normally do because he was a church member. And he walked up to the podium, which everybody thought it was kind of strange, pulled out a pistol and pointed it at TD Jakes at that point.
Mm,
And he was young in his ministry days. And
okay.
he squeezed the trigger. He actually pulled the trigger, but however, the gun did not go off.
Hmm.
And at that moment, if somebody could have been there, which God, thank God, the angels was with him, and just
Yes.
the firearm. But
Yes.
however, even in Texas, when that guy came in and shot up the church, killed a couple of people, and he ran out to his truck, it was actually a armed civilian that took him down, not law enforcement. I tell people when you're in that moment of needing help at that moment, law enforcement, when that second count, law enforcement is minutes to hours away. And now they've even came out a couple of years ago where law enforcement actually will sit on the corner till all the smoke clear, then proceed into the to the incident. They don't come rushing in like they used to back in the day when we were kids.
Yeah.
Now they stay back because
Yep.
they don't want to get not that they're afraid or anything, but they don't want if they get taken out, who else going to come in and help at that moment? So,
Yes, sir.
they'll rather go ahead and assess the situation. And
Right.
for churches, every time I go to church, now a lot of churches I know in certain states, you have to get permission from the pastor in
Oh,
order
really?
yeah,
Oh, I
in
didn't know
order
that.
to bring in
Okay.
some states, because 'cause I've talked to some people in other
Okay.
states, and they say, "Well, you have to get your pastor's permission."
Okay.
A lot of security guards or security personnel in the church comes to me and say, "Hey, doc, I need you to train me, get my CCW because I want to be on a security team." I tell them, "No, I'm not doing it." Because that's a responsibility. If anything happens, not only are you liable, the church liable, the pastor's liable, and several other parishioners on that security team are liable because you're not security. It's better for that church to hire security officers. Now, for personal protection, to protect you, loved ones, and other people in your immediate area, yes, I will train you. I will take you to the gun range, show you how to shoot. I will give you your certificate so you can go and get your concealed weapons license. But you are not a hired personnel. You
Mm,
are a person that's
gotcha.
law abiding, that's going ahead and getting your concealed weapons license.
I think that's amazing, man, that you had that discretion. And that's what I meant earlier by having someone responsible, someone that does not say yes to any everything. But that was great that you was able to assess that scenario
Yes.
and tell them no. You weren't afraid to tell them no, and you gave them just cause to understand why your no was valid. So I think that was awesome, man. I want to go back a couple of sentences ago, though. You mentioned about the situation with TD Jakes back in his early days.
Hmm.
And also, let me remind the audience, this show is called If You Ain't Laughing, If You Ain't Living. I'm a comedian. We take real life scenarios, real life conversations, but God has blessed me with the gift of comedy. So I throw a little spin in every now and then. I don't want anybody to get personally involved in the comedy side of my show. That being said, you mentioned TD Jakes back in the 80s when he had a situation. We thank God that TD Jakes did not get hurt. Let's
Right.
just say, right? But I was thinking like that was the old TD. That was the big TD. I mean, what I'm saying, Doc, is TD, he was about 470 back then. So
Yeah.
if
About
he'd
four.
have got hit with a couple of bullets, I don't really think it would have bothered him that much. I think he would have finished his whole sermon because I mean, just before he lost weight, he was big.
It
He
was
wasn't little
huge. It
TDJ,
was
he was
huge.
big TDJ.
Yes.
So God had blessed him with a mass amount of weight to kind
Mhm.
of protect him anyway. But we just thank God for the angels
Yes.
being in the midst. Somebody gonna get that later on, but we just thank God for the funny. Listen, um, so and my thing is, and we talking about guns in the church now. When you decide to take a weapon to church,
Mhm.
I like the discretion, but I at the same time I kind of disagree with having to get permission from the pastor, because the pastor can't predict what's going to happen on the outside,
Right.
and nor do they know who's all coming through their doors.
That's
So
true.
I disagree with that. I respect the fact that he wants, or they, if they have a committee, want some say so in knowing what's happening in his church. That makes sense to me. But I think there's another way that they can probably try to work on this and decide how to approach that conversation,
Right.
and not lose people, because people have the freedom to carry now.
Yes.
People have the freedom to want to protect, like we're talking about, protect themselves, protect their families, whether in or out of the church. So I disagree with that. Them having the final say so if I can or can't. I
Right.
think I think everybody should have the right to do what they feel when it comes to that decision. But I think it's important for everyone to know that if you, it's called a concealed weapon for a reason. That information shouldn't be broadcasted.
Exactly.
And you have to be careful with guns because everyone know they are a serious threat to any and every situation that they're in.
Yes, they are.
So
Mm.
it's concealed for a reason. You know, a lot of people talk too much. Some people want to come in and let you know, and they sometimes, especially the older deacons, they
Yeah,
just be poked out big because they got a little 32 snub nose 32 from back in '78. They ain't cleaned it in 40 years. They ain't
exactly.
had it checked. They want to go and they waiting to shoot. You know what I mean? So I
Exactly.
think it's important that we use maturity, discretion, professionalism, and most importantly, keep it concealed. Stop talking so much and don't go nowhere, whether church or out of church, or with that ego because you have a gun on you. Now I work law enforcement, man. I'm on the corrections detention side of things, but I'm in all kind of training. I
Okay.
witness all kind of stuff, so I can attest to one thing for sure. It's something about carrying a gun that make people feel a little more empowered.
Yes.
And it's a
Invincible.
dangerous, it's yeah, invincible, man, and it's a dangerous feeling. And I'm telling you, I've worked alongside people in my 30-year journey in this business. And also I know a lot of people that's out in the world. I'm still connected to people that's in the streets. Those are my friends, a lot of them, because that's where I come from.
Right.
And I know that sense of invincibility, man, that sense of strongness that it comes from just holding that little 4 pound or however many pounds it is now, piece of metal
Right.
makes them feel, man. And I'm concerned about that. Even in the church. Doc, I'm concerned about that because uh, we need to know that it has a purpose, and that's to protect.
Yes.
That's the only purpose that a gun is supposed to be on a human being.
Right.
And I'm saying protecting with rationale. You know what I'm saying? People used to talk things out when they got into a disagreement or argument or some misunderstanding, but now they let the fact that they have a weapon talk for them, so they don't
For
even
them.
communicate.
That's true.
Uh, what say you on that right there?
Well, I know as for myself, I've been carrying firearms ever since I was 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
Back in the early 80s, which was illegal.
Okay.
I remember because I used to get them for my brother every time I would go out to the parties, the house parties back in those
So you
days.
was out there breaking the law, sir. You was out
Yes.
there pistol packing preacher, wasn't always a preacher, but he will pack it. Let's just put that out there for the whole
Don't
world to
tell
know. Oh,
nobody. Don't tell
all right,
nobody.
all right. Thank you for your testimony, sir.
So I remember one time a friend of mine and I we went to this house party, and it was in a rough neighborhood right there in Liberty City, in Miami, Florida. And so my brother, I asked him, I said, "Hey, can I borrow a couple of your guns with you?" He'd be like, "Sure, just take whatever you want." He had a little Derringer,
Okay.
and he had a little snub nose 38. So my partner, who I ran with, we went to this party, and we had each other back no matter what.
Okay.
And so when I introduced him, I said, "Okay, we going to this party. We down here in the city, down here by Northwestern. So you know how that was back in the day.
Yes, sir.
They didn't like nobody coming from the north end, because I was from the lock, Opalaka, coming down
Okay.
to Northwestern, going enjoying their luxury of the ladies and whatever, and
Territorial.
territorial. And we
Gotcha.
went down there. So I opened up my trunk. I gave him a firearm, and I took the firearm. I took
Oh,
the
you just passed them out like trick or treat. You just everybody get one. Here you
everybody
go.
get
Here,
one.
you need one? Hey, you need
Everybody
a
get
gun?
one.
Okay, I got you. That
And
was you?
And this cat, yeah, yeah, exactly. And this cat, when he got the firearm, he was looking at it, and I saw him looking at it strange. He was like, "Wow, I could take a life with this."
Mm,
At that moment, it hit
yeah.
me. Grab that gun. I took it
Yeah.
from him. I took
Good.
mine and put them in the trunk and
Oh
closed the
man.
trunk.
Awesome.
Yes,
Right on.
at that
Awesome.
moment, because that was the first time that I ever been faced with something like that.
Right.
And the surprising part, he wasn't a hothead.
Yeah.
But that gun at that moment made him like the Hawk. Go from
Okay.
this little skinny dude to this great big giant dude.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
once I saw that, I looked at that and my life passed before me. All I could see myself shackled
I got you.
off some BS.
Yep. I got you.
And I
I
took the
got you.
gun from him, took the firearm I had, put it in the
Yeah.
trunk, and closed the door, closed the trunk. And then the party was great. Yeah, we got into a little, eye gazing at the other people, but other
Hmm.
than that, it was cool because her dad. Matter of fact, her dad was law enforcement at the time, which was my godfather,
Okay.
Willie Henderson. He was City Miami Police Department, so
Okay.
it was down in that area. So I didn't, I felt comfortable, but
Hmm.
yet it's still, you still have to be situational awareness
I got you.
at all times. So yeah, and that's when I saw the invisibility. The first time I experienced somebody going, like I say, just totally felt like they was God. He was like, I could take a life.
Yeah, man. Hey, I tell you what, and you were a teenager.
Yes,
So for you to
yes,
even make that decision, man, and digress on that, I think that was a calling for your life on that, man. I'm gonna tell you why.
Hmm.
Because most 16-year-olds wouldn't have done that.
Right.
We would have encouraged it, and we would probably told him, "Hey, man, put that down," or something like that. But we would have definitely just digressed from that whole mentality and put it back in the trunk. We wouldn't have done that. So
Right.
I feel like that's a sign that you are in the element that you're supposed to be in, as predestined and ordained by God, man. And you're doing it well. I caught a little something because I'm a comedian, man. So I caught a little something. You said that was your girlfriend's godfather.
No, that
Uh,
was actually my godfather.
the god.
His daughter was having a party. She was graduating along with us.
Oh,
And,
you wasn't dating the daughter though.
no, 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 no.
Oh,
We
because I
all,
was I was trying to be
yeah.
messy. Oh, I was trying to
Oh,
be
you were
messy.
trying to be
Oh,
messy.
yeah, I was trying to start. Yeah, I offered to say, man, that's a little close, but
Yeah,
I
because
was
she
wrong. It was
graduated from Northwestern and we graduated from Hialeah Miami
okay.
Lakes.
I ain't
You
trying to
know.
get all your business, Doc Holiday. I'm just saying. I often say, boy, you nasty, you man. Okay, but anyway, but let's get back to the guns. All right. So I got another serious question for you,
Uh-huh.
man. So in church, right,
Right.
carrying a weapon in church. And the reason why I'm putting emphasis on church for our listeners is because we all can relate to one thing for sure, that these are uncertain times.
Right.
We can
Definitely.
all relate that everybody is spontaneous,
Right.
dangerously spontaneous, that you just don't know who's who.
Right.
So I want to just make sure I expound on how important it is for the listeners to know that it's okay to carry a concealed weapon with the right credentials
Hmm.
to church. Uh, but you just need to make sure that we keep it concealed, and to know that go with the heart of serving God.
Right.
Everything. So let's just go to church for a quick second. So the devil want to distract us from serving the Lord. Let's be clear about that.
Right.
Anything that has to do with serving God, the devil going to find a way, if he can, to distract you.
Right.
And carrying a concealed weapon is a perfect way. That's a perfect segue for him, because now I'm sitting in service. I got my gun on me, but now I'm looking around and
Hmm.
focusing on who looks suspect and who I got to keep my eye on,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
I have something now. I'm in protect mode. I'm in suspect mode, because now, Brother Johnson been coming to this church for 13 years, but today he looked different to me.
Right.
He looked high, or he angry, or so we got to be careful with those same with that same energy, to know
Yes.
that when you are carrying a concealed weapon, stay focused,
Right.
especially when you're going to church. You're going to church to do church and be in church, be in church. The only thing you have is some extra protection from the human beings, but ultimately God got you. And we need to keep that mentality.
Now,
So,
I'm sorry to cut you off. I know you mentioned church and concealed weapons. As of September 24th, 2025, we can open carry in the state of
oh yeah,
Florida.
yeah, I was
Y-
going to get to that.
Okay, okay. I'll let you go
Yeah,
ahead
yeah,
and
I was going to
segue
get to
into it.
that.
Okay.
But I like to keep putting emphasis on concealed,
Concealed. Yes.
because
Yes.
that's more respectable.
Yes.
But now I thank you for opening up that segue to open carry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, that is even more of a dangerous situation, in my opinion, because not only did I used to hide it from you, now I'm gonna show you what I'm working with.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? And let me ask you a question, because I never heard nobody ask this question, but I want to know myself. Is
Mm-hmm.
there a limit to, since it's open carry, uh, is there like a limit or a size limit, if you will? Or like, for instance, since I can open carry, can I come to church and with an AK-47 across my lap on
Yes.
top of my Bible,
Yes.
and just take up two positions in a row? I just take up two
Yes.
spaces. I got a gun. It's like that, really, or a shotgun. I can just pull up with whatever, because it's open
Because
carry.
remember, concealed carry only was limited to handguns. They were never limited to long rifles,
Rifles.
or they
Gotcha.
was not applied to long rifles because everybody
Yep.
can see a long rifle, so you can't carry it. You have to carry it
Yes.
open, even
Yeah, that makes
even in
sense.
a bag. Now, it
Yeah,
has
that
to
makes
be in
sense.
some type of secure. That's what they call it. Has to be securely encased. But I know now with this open carry, you could carry it without being in the bag, without
Yeah.
being concealed. But
Yeah.
but it never. It was always, when it comes to concealed, it always was handgun,
I got you.
not long
So
rifle.
I can bring whatever size weapon I want to anywhere I want to go right now in the state of Florida.
In the state of Florida. Yes, sir.
Man, I tell you, it's an uneasy feeling. My wife and I, my family, we were coming through Gainesville.
Uh-huh.
Was it Gainesville? I believe it was Gainesville a few weeks ago. And there was a young, yeah, it was Gainesville actually. And the guy coming out of the gas station, tucked right in the front of his stomach was a gun. And
Mhm.
my daughter noticed it, and because we're not used to seeing it,
Right.
she kind of panicked a little bit. You know
Okay.
what I mean? She kind of like, wow, you know what young people do, and it's like, man, I can't believe I'm actually witnessing something that we just weren't able to do for
Yeah.
centuries.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
And now it's just free, and that it kind of made me really realize how important it is to actually have a weapon now
Yes. Yes.
because it's in the hands of everybody, and everybody let you know I got a gun.
Yep. 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 You're
Uh,
right.
I don't see I don't see that getting any easier for us, Doc. I don't. I see that becoming more stressful
Mhm.
and more intimidating to the human eye everywhere we go.
Right.
What you think about that?
I agree with you. I have a young lady that I've been recently training down in Miami. She had her matter of fact, my brother trained her as a for concealed weapons and everything, and she went out and purchased her firearm, and she had it for 5 years
Mhm.
and never used it, never shot the firearm. But
Mhm.
she had one, and I run into a lot of people like that. I'm like, why did you even get the firearm? Well, because I thought I needed it. I say, well, how do you feel now? In the way the state is, the way everything is coming about, people around here carrying firearms. She said, "Well, I think I need it, but however, do I really want to carry it?"
Mhm.
And it's a scary feeling when they're not even sure themselves. Because I started training her, and she's gotten a lot better. She feels more comfortable with it, but she's still on that edge about not carrying it concealed or whatever. You
Okay.
know? So she basically leave it at home, or if she carry it, is going to the gun range.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to get her and others. I say, if you're going to buy a firearm, just don't let it sit on your closet. Don't let it sit on the table and you do nothing with it. Even if you at home dry firing, and what dry firing means, you just take it and work with it, find out all the different parts and play with it or whatever, just to see what's going on. And even aiming and taking pot shots. You know, you can't use the bullets, put the bullets in another room.
Right.
Too many incidents. But as far as carrying in the church or carrying anywhere in this day and time, most time I don't leave home without it.
Mm.
And if I do, it's because can't go in a place that's restricting
Right.
type of firearm.
I
But
can
other than that,
understand that.
I have it with me. You know,
I can.
I even carry a pocket knife
Right.
with me, legal size, but yet it's still, I feel comfortable with something on me,
Right.
you know.
I got you. I understand it. I mean, I have nothing to say about that because that's just the way it is nowadays, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
And me being a elder in the church, man, me being a man of God and a law enforcement deputy and someone who understands the truth. And the
Hmm.
truth of the matter is, no one is wrong for having something to protect themselves and their families. I
Exactly.
would not. I'm not the person to say it is.
Right.
Me being a believer, um, I still understand what it's about. You know,
Yes.
I had one of my friends. He called me a fool one time. This was many years ago, but he was always carrying guns. Uh, and he told me, he asked me, he said, "Doc, you carry a gun when you're off duty?" At the time, I didn't.
Hmm.
At that time, I wasn't used to. I think for me, Doc, man, because I love people, uh, and God has blessed me. There's an aura that I'm intentional about with people,
Okay.
and it's love,
Hmm.
and that has protected me. The fact that I know how to avoid confrontation, because I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is on record. Uh, Everybody know themselves, and I'm intentional about being nice and kind to people because when I'm not, it's not good. And I've been in situations when that other ego or that other spirit has took over me, and I've
Uh-huh.
been in some real bad situations. So we're just being honest about being a human being.
Right.
You know, I feel like everybody got a side to them that's not so nice if it have to be. And I don't want to be motivated by my temperament, my past temperament especially, motivate me to do something drastic, way more drastic than it could have been if I hadn't had some type of self control.
Right.
So he asked me, he said he called me a fool for carrying a gun, not carrying a gun all the time
Okay.
off duty.
Hmm.
And I asked him the question. I asked him, I said, well, what will you do if your gun run out of bullets? He laughed at me,
Hmm.
but I gave him the statistic, which was at the time that there was a very, very minuscule percentage where you can hit your target, even in close proximity when you under duress. And I remember, if I'm not mistaken, at that time it was something like 8 to 10% of me hitting my target and I'm shooting in close range.
Right.
And I
Right.
explained that to him, how he think because he has a gun that's loaded, and he got these bullets that who says that you gonna win?
Yes.
Who
Yes.
says that you're gonna hit your target?
Hmm.
Who says you guaranteed to come out on top of that situation because you have a gun? And so he was just looking at me, and I asked him a question again: what you gonna do when your gun run out of bullets? And he said, I'm gonna pull my knife. Ironically, you said a little while ago. And I started laughing. I said, who brings a knife to a gunfight?
The gunfight.
Right. So I told him, I said, I use the other G all the time. I carry him with me all the time, and that's God. So that was just a little footnote to kind of let people understand, don't give everything that you mentally can to the power of a gun.
Right.
Use it the way you need to use it, carry it the way you need to carry it, keep it when you need to keep it. But don't believe for 1 second that because you have it and because you can shoot it, that you will win.
Come on now. You're
So
right.
learn how to communicate,
Yes.
learn how to have a conversation, learn how to walk away,
Yes. Yes.
learn how to say, bro, you got that. I don't want no problems. Learn how to do these things, and you will
Yes.
never have to put your hand on the trigger or be faced with that situation, because all it takes is one time to change your life forever.
Wherever.
And once your life changes, that changes the trajectory for your family. If you're
Yes.
married, wife and kids, for your loved ones, for anything that you're involved with, it changes. Even if you're innocent, Doc, you have to fight your way out of these battles in court.
Yeah.
You literally have to sit sometime in jail being an innocent one for a long time
Long time.
to
Yeah.
fight your way out.
Yeah.
And all because you decided to show that you was a tough guy and they was a tough guy. So be the tough guy and learn how to say, no, you misunderstood me. I don't want no problems. These are things that can cause you to walk away, live, talk about it later on, and pray about that person that did that.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
So I
You
just
know,
want to share that to the audience, man. Is ways to avoid having to go to that 4 pound weapon and think that you're gonna win, because everybody's not winning with those guns.
exactly. Exactly.
So have you ever had to pull your weapon, or have you ever had to like
No.
come close call? Oh, good. That's
No,
good.
thank
Good.
God
Good.
I haven't. When I was
Good.
younger, in corrections, as a matter of fact, I got
Okay.
robbed at gunpoint, went off the 79th Street down in Miami, got robbed at gunpoint.
I
But
got my gold teeth down there in '79 back in the day. Yeah. Yeah. Just want to put that out there. Back in back in the early '90s when I came to Florida, I found out Florida was rocking gold teeth. Where you get that
yes,
at?
yes.
79th Street in Miami at the flea. You
Yep.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Right there at the flea market. They
I
pulling
came
me.
out looking like, hey, speaking of guns, I came out looking like I had a bullet in my mouth, because that's what that cheap gold looked like. I don't even want to go to 79. I don't want to pass 79th Street. I go all around
Wow.
to
You
avoid
go,
that street. They jacked me up, man. But
yeah.
my bad. Go,
So
go ahead, Doc, man.
and at the time, I did have my firearm with me, and being in law enforcement. Um, But I was able to talk my way out, the guy. Uh, Matter of fact, another time I got caught, a young lady I was dating, we was right off 79th Street, right there in Carroll City, right outside her house.
Uh-huh.
We were sitting on the park, and two guys walked up, and me being distracted, not thinking, and boom, they pulled a gun out on us and everything. And
Oh, wow.
now let me tell you my story. I got up to walk, and I say they were like, "Where you coming from? Why you sitting on the bus bench?" It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So
Okay.
I said, we live down the street. We just came down here to get some air. So he said, okay, take me to your house. So what done turned into a robbery now has turned into a strong arm plus kidnapping, because he moved us from one spot,
Yep.
walking us down the street.
Yeah.
In my mind, and thank God, God was with me, I seen an episode on Bonanza
Okay.
where Nick Cartwright was walking with his girlfriend and he shoved her out the way, then went for his gun and pow, pow. My crazy behind was playing that in my head
Okay.
to do that. But like I said, they got the slip on me, so I could not pull my firearm. So
Okay. But you did have it with you.
I
You
did
had
have
it
it
on.
with me. Yeah, I
Oh,
had it
okay.
on
I
me.
thought, okay.
But I didn't
Okay.
have, at that moment, I did not have, they just caught me off guard. And so we're walking down. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. So when we get to the open gate, because, they're in Carroll City, a lot of the gates were closed. And there was one gate that was open wide enough. I was going, and matter of fact, I switched sides with her and put her on the side of the gate. And in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, at that moment, I was getting ready to react. And
Mm.
I was like, where you taking us? He stopped, stop. Where you taking us? And then they just left.
Mm.
They left. But I was like, either I was going to be brave,
Yeah.
stupid,
Yeah.
Alive or brave, stupid, and dead.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's a good example, Doc, man. That testimony right there to get people to understand how critical it is and how fast you had to make some decisions,
Yes.
life, quote on life or death situations.
Yes.
You didn't see it coming.
Yeah, exactly.
It happened,
Hmm.
and you didn't know whether you're going to live or die at that ordeal.
I did.
And you were thinking about doing something, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Man,
You're
I
right.
can imagine that's stressful. That's a lot of pressure.
Yes. Yes.
Unexpected stress that ultimately could have ended out bad
Bad.
for somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you lived to tell that story, man.
Yes.
I really am. Man, this is the seriousness that we're facing with guns.
Yeah.
You reminded me, and this is a short story for the audience and for you as well, to let you know that how God keeps us covered, man, even when we
Yes.
don't have a clue. I
Yes.
had a situation similar, not like that one, but
Hmm.
I had a guy pull a gun on me in Chicago, man. Uh, when I was younger, uh, he hit my mother in the jaw.
Mm.
This guy. I flew back home to visit, and this guy, my mother was outside. She used to smoke cigarettes back then, and she was smoking a cigarette. And my brother and I was in there eating some lunch, whatever. And all I heard was one of my sisters scream our name. She like, Doc Anthony, which is my brother's name, and we ran. We just started running. When we got up through the building and got outside on the street, my mom was laying down on the ground, and I saw a little blood on the side of jaw, man, and I kind of blacked out. First of all, I'm a mama's boy. And at that time, even now, still, I'm a protective of my mom. But one thing that you don't do, and you know this, you just don't mess with nobody's mama.
Exactly.
He hit my mother. My mother was on the ground. And the guy was running. I chased off behind him, and we run like across like a 4 or 5 lane highway, which is a busy street in Chicago. And I didn't get hit by a car or nothing, but I ran up to his place. By the time I got up to his doorstep, he had a gun. He was able to, because he had to jump on me with the run.
Right.
So when he came back down, by the time I got up his steps, he came out with a gun and hit it stuck to
Wow.
my. Yeah, man, he had a gun to my head.
Wow.
At that time, I was not in no church. I wasn't saved. I wasn't none of the stuff that I am today. I was a dude that was willing to die about just about anything when it comes to my mother.
Right. Well, most of
And
us are.
yes, sir.
Most of us are, especially in our community.
Yes,
In
sir.
our community.
And he had the gun to my head, right? Now, because I'm out from that world, so I know how it's supposed to go down. And I was wondering why he didn't say one word to me. He just had the gun to my head. I'm standing down looking up at him. So I'm thinking to myself, why he ain't killed me yet? Because I told him, I said, you might as well shoot me because I'm gonna kill you if you don't. This is what I'm telling him. If you don't, I'm gonna kill you. Right? He still didn't shoot me. And thank by the grace of God, first of all, I thank God that he didn't. Now I
Right.
think about it.
Right.
But come to find out, the gun, long story short, because it's too long to tell, but his cousin and him were roommates. His cousin was coming down the street. My brother and his cousin were friends. Just so happened to walk up, and his cousin saw this. This guy had been pulling this gun on people, robbing them and everything else. So when he saw what was happening, he ran up and went to just beating his cousin's bad, man, beating his
Wow.
behind. And while he beating him, I'm standing back because I'm trying to get in and see how I'm gonna smash, do something bad to him. And and I heard his cousin say, I'm tired of you pulling this fake gun on people. You're gonna get us
Oh,
killed.
wow.
It was a BB gun.
Wow.
So for somebody who deal with guns all the time, we need to let the people know that there are guns out here that are fake BB
Yes.
guns,
Yes.
and they look real.
Real.
They are heavy like real
Yes.
guns. And we need to this to me, this is another reason why it's important for us to use discretion and to learn how to communicate very well.
Very well.
Because you just don't know. And the court system is kind of tricky because if you're in a situation and they find out that the suspect has a fake gun, they make you fight your way out of court because
As if it's
he
a
had a
real
fake
gun.
gun
Yep.
and like you were supposed to know that.
Yep.
So I kind of go back to what I was saying about how important it is for everybody just to learn how to communicate, learn how to drop your ego, man, learn how to drop your pride and live another day because you don't want to be wrapped up in a court system litigation and a snowball effect of trouble
Yes.
because you have unalived someone,
Yes.
rightfully so, in my opinion, because you don't know what they got, but you
Right.
still have to fight to live.
And I want to also just talk about a young lady that I was talking about that had a gun for 5 years. Her and I
Okay.
teamed up. Her and I teamed up, and we started this program called Triggers Awareness Community Safety. Because
Okay.
been noticing a lot of ladies that I've been training
Hmm.
in my classes where
Okay.
they either have some type of triggers that dealing with firearms. Because one lady I trained, man, I had about 16 ladies in one class, and we
Hmm.
was at the gun range, and it was her time to shoot because I make everybody go through a little shoot, a little 22. And when she started shooting, she was like, ah, bah, 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 just screaming and hollering.
Oh wow.
Man, it scared me because I was not expecting it, and I looked at it, next thing I know, tears just running down her eyes. Now,
Mm.
she stayed in Miami in the Poking Bean Projects. A lot of your audience might know where that's at, down in
Yeah. Oh yeah.
down
I got a church down there. Yeah.
by Northwestern High School,
Yes, sir.
but her boyfriend doing his little illegal stuff out there in the streets, some guys came in, kicked in the door, put a gun to his head, and shot him in the head.
Mm.
Her daughter, and her son, they said they was gonna kill them if they tell.
Mm.
And that was a trigger. We dealing with a lot of unresolved triggers,
Yes,
especially
sir.
when it comes to firearms.
Yes, sir.
And then when the state came about and said, "Well, permitless carry.
Hmm.
You don't need to conceal weapons to carry a firearm."
Right.
And a lot of the firearm instructors are very much against it because
Okay.
they say they don't have to get training.
Right.
And that mental health piece is very important. So Miss Guyton, her name's Keisha Guyton. She's with me, and we started a little, like I said, a program called Triggers Awareness Community Safety,
Okay.
where we can start bringing in people, even the kids that I work with. A lot of them. We had a kid at one of our shelters. They shot up the shelter with other kids because he called himself going out there robbing some guys for Xbox. They came back looking for him, and they didn't care. And I
Yeah.
tell people, you have to be aware because there are a lot of people who have a lot of these unresolved triggers
Right.
that need to be outspoken, put out there, put in a situation where you could get counseling, because they'll pay for it if you do it the right way.
Right.
And as far as the open carry now, oh my God, that is to me, that is just a total nightmare.
Right.
Because nobody's getting training. You could walk in the gun store and still take the 3 to 5 day wait period, but yet and still, there's no real safety, no safeguards to say you can get. And I know in Broward County, Sheriff Tony had put up this special unit that dealt with people through the fire department of people shooting themselves.
Right.
And I helped with that program also,
Okay.
going into the schools last summer, doing
Okay.
the different speakings to the kids in the schools about firearms. Because just because your parents may not have a gun in the house, but you don't know about little Johnny down the street or your uncle or your grandmother's house if they have a gun. Yeah.
Okay.
And so training is paramount. That's my biggest thing is training.
Okay. Gotcha. So I appreciate that, man, and I'm glad that you have a lot of programs going on, still trying to train and teach people properly and how these programs, because we can't beat it. It's too big for us. So
Right.
we might as well figure out ways to help the community out, help the people out, be responsible while carrying.
Yes.
Uh, so we head our way to a close because I hear your dog back there, man, and I think they miss you. And we talking about guns, and I hear the dog barking, and I'm feeling some type of way that ain't right for me to feel like that. But what I will say this, man, I was thinking about carrying guns, and I wanted, for the audience to understand what the purpose of this conversation was about. Once again, was about carrying, conceal and or not conceal, because you just because the law is what it is, that don't mean that you have to
Right.
carry openly. You can still conceal your weapon,
Yes. And I
and
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 I'm
I'm
advocate for it.
and I'm encouraging everyone to do that. To still don't be
Yes.
broadcasting your business. Go ahead and put your stuff tucked away like it was when the law said it was that way. You have a choice to do that. I feel like those people who are openly showing it out, they just want to show out.
Yes.
A
Yeah. Yes.
responsible human being,
Yes.
somebody who know how to be cavalier about business.
Hmm.
I think they'll just keep it like it was.
Right.
But Doc, I got some people who I don't think need to carry at all, in the church especially. I don't think ushers need to carry weapons there, Doc. I think if an usher carry a weapon, depending on the type of mood they in. You ever been to a church where an usher just control the room? Can you imagine that person having a gun, man? They tell you where to sit down. If you don't want to sit there, ain't no telling what they might do with you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because they carrying a weapon. I don't think they need to carry a weapon. If you got a piece of gum and you chewing on gum, that usher might flip on you a little bit. So I don't want them to have a gun. I don't. Some preachers don't need guns, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree.
Because when they take that tithe and offering box,
Yes.
if it ain't like they wanted, they ain't no telling what they might do, Doc. You know what I mean? They might feel some type of way. They might get some order in the service. They might try to. I don't know, but I don't think some of them need to carry a weapon because nowadays in church, it ain't just study like it used to be. It's a little shaky sometimes,
Exactly.
and
You're
there ain't no
right.
telling that tithe box boy and that offering plate. Ain't no telling how the pastor might be feeling. So
You're
I
right.
think those two people need to be totally excluded from carrying weapons in the church. Doc,
And
man, it's been a pleasure having you, man.
yes,
I tell you what, I hope that we were able to spark the interest of people and give them some ideas of how to go about their future when it comes to these weapons. Uh, for for uh, for notation, this is not a segment or a session about talking against guns and gun owners. We're merely trying to advocate for good, responsible carrying of weapons,
yes,
whether concealed or not. I want to put that on record. We are not speaking against any of these gun lovers, man. Do
right.
what you do. Protect
Yep.
your family by any means necessary, but let's just be responsible with it. And
Yes,
let's learn how to communicate. I think there should be classes offered outside of learning how to use a weapon. I think they should have classes. I don't know if you do that or not, but I think there should be some classes offered in essence of the courses that they take just to teach them how to have good interpersonal skills,
I do.
to
I
kind of
do.
digress and divert and learn how to read the signs of people who aren't in the right mental space. I think that stuff is important, man.
And that's
Uh,
basically what our program is geared to do, because we do have mental health counselors. We do
okay,
have other people come on, other community advocates, to teach them how to de-escalate.
okay,
Because it's just not all about the gun. It's not all about throwing hands. It's
exactly,
about to talk.
exactly.
You know.
You can live or die by that tongue, and that's scripture.
Yes.
Uh, I tell you what, if you ain't laughing, you ain't living. I want to encourage people out here to make sure that you take a moment out your day and have a good laugh, all while you're learning. If you're on a job, hey, take some time to laugh.
Yes.
Listen to this podcast and get the education and the joy part out of it. We've had a blast. I've had a blast with you on, Doc, man. Thank you for sharing the information, giving us the knowledge. And I would like for you to tell our listeners how they can reach you, man. It may be some people want to learn and or want to just get into one of your courses, man. If you want to share some
Yeah.
information so
Definitely.
they can get in touch with you, man, I think that'd be great.
Okay, well, they can reach out to me through my work cell phone number, and it's 954-998-3840. They can call me through there. I'm also on Instagram. I'm on all the social medias. I'm on Instagram as Doc Holiday 69, or Darryl Doc Holliday, like it is on the screen. And I'm on Instagram there. And then I have a website. I just developed a website, and you can reach me at Doc Holiday, with one L, Doc Holiday 6 at .com. And they can put that in and it'll pull me right up. They can reach out to me anytime. Also, by not only doing the firearms with concealed weapons, I also do security officers. I'm
Okay.
ex-law enforcement, so I went and got my K license through the state of Florida.
Okay.
And I train security as well as police officers.
Awesome.
And I do that as well. So just reach out to me. I hold classes from Homestead all the way over to Orlando and Tampa.
Okay.
Where people call me, they need me. Hey, I need you to come do a class for me. I'm there. So,
Yes, sir.
mhm.
Yes, sir. Doc, this is the first time since I've had my podcast that I've actually talked to another doc. Like, because I'm comedian Doc and you Doc Holiday, but I want you to know in front of all these people, I'm the real doc. Okay. You know, you 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 a little fake doc with a lot of
Now
guns.
see, you going
I'm
there.
just
You
saying,
going there.
you a little fake doc with all these guns, but I'm a real doc. But
But
this doc don't want no problem with that doc
as
because
Doc
you got too
Holliday
many
always
guns.
say, I'll be your huckleberry.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming in and joining us in our If You Ain't Laughing, You Ain't Living episode
Amen.
about guns, carrying guns, concealed or not concealed, how to be responsible. Thank you for our professional, Mr. Doc Holliday, joining us today and sharing information. Reach out to the brother, man. Get educated and learn how to be responsible when you're carrying your weapon.
Yes.
We're gonna ask you all if you want to subscribe to If You Ain't Laughing, You Ain't Living. Subscribe to If You Ain't Laughing, You Ain't Living or the riverside.com or Taking TV. Any one of those platforms you can find us, iHeartRadio, Amazon, YouTube. Join us, subscribe, and let us know what you think about us. So until then, you all have a fantastic day. Be safe out there because it's not safe, and we love y'all.
Amen.
Peace.
Peace. God bless.